Hello, friends. I'm back. It's Kim Patterson. Welcome again to Real Time. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in, sticking with me, and mainly just coming back to see what God is saying in our times through time. And so I'm just so thankful for all who are subscribing, all who are listening, and sharing it with others. I think as we get a little bit further into this, what I'm discovering is a theme that God is sharing, and it just gets more exciting as we delve into this. And so, what the theme that I'm noticing is that He is trying to get us to recalibrate our eyes. And what I mean by that is that He wants to help us to see how important it is that we're looking at the right things, looking in the right direction, and where our focus should be. Because I think part of it is there's so much going on that we can get out of focus very easily, out of focus with God and onto, things we're just not supposed to be focusing on. And so I kind of want to review some of the things that we talked about where we're to look and not to look, and then talk about the latest thing that God was sharing with me this morning. So first of all, we talked about the 6:11 and how God did not want us focusing on our weaknesses, and we're not to look at our weaknesses, not even man or the government or the things of worldly nature. He does not want us looking at man, meaning ourselves, our weaknesses, the weaknesses that are in our government or the weaknesses that are in other people in our relationships. He wants us to focus on Him and see Him and His strength. Okay, so this is the first place that He was talking, like, get your eyes off yourself and get your eyes on me. It's good right there. The other one was, remember, look again. So this is taking another look at Jesus and everything that He is to you. And so we were looking at His attributes. We're looking at the different names for God, and how when we look at the name, it also gives us information about what He does. And so when we look to God, we can see how Jesus wants to reveal Himself to us. Okay, so we're to wake up to who Jesus is and begin seeing Him and putting Him on the throne of our hearts. All right, and then since He dwells in our hearts, we're to stop looking outside of ourselves to find Him, but we need to journey inward to find Jesus. Okay, start looking at Him inside of us. We're going to take a spiritual look now, instead of in our circumstances or trying to find Him in our circumstances or relationships. We are taking a spiritual look. All right, and we are looking for Him within. All right, we need to see Him building that throne spiritually. Okay, now what He was talking with me today about, and it's the fourth place where He wants us to look, is He wants us looking up. All right, that means don't look at what the enemy is doing right now. This is the season to look at what He's doing. And I think our tendency is to see everything around us and then really get preoccupied with the bad stuff and how the enemy is working. And so that's what we're focusing on. And He says not to focus on the enemy's activity, but to focus on His activity, because the enemy is very loud. It's like him banging a cymbal. And he's saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. He needs so much attention, it's ridiculous. Okay, but God works in the quietness, and He works in the small things. And if you're not recognizing Him in the small things, then it is very difficult to see Him in the big things. And so we need to stop looking at the enemy and start looking for God's activity. And we can do that by first seeing what he's doing in ourselves, what he's doing in our lives, and just in the small every day. And that's how he will begin to train us to see bigger and bigger things, to notice the coincidences. This is where he wants us looking. But if we are distracted, then we cannot see the little things that God's doing, because the enemy of our lives is over here banging a cymbal saying, look over here and look at me. All right. These distractions, I think I'm looking at a couple of main things of how they're coming in my life and in the lives of some of the people who are close to me and my friends. And you see if this is true for you. So first think about, where have I been distracted lately? Where have I lost focus? Because the enemy wants to keep your eyes off of God and on to him. And this will come in the form of distractions. I have 3 friends right now, and they are very, very distracted with their homes. And I think, it's really, since we're all in our homes a lot, I think this has been a natural thing for people to look at, because now they're sitting in their homes, they're looking at their 4 walls, and they're seeing all the things that either need to be updated or that need to be redone. Maybe something is falling apart, and so now it needs some attention, and I'm in my home anyway. I'm just sitting around looking at it, so why don't I do something about it? And this, for my 3 friends, it has become quite the distraction, where one thing leads to the next thing, which leads to the next thing. And I think this is a distraction of the enemy in these times, because, God doesn't want us focusing on temporal, earthly things when he is preparing a home in heaven for us, okay? And it's just so paramount in these times that we begin to think on the eternal and the things that are waiting for us in heaven. But he wants to keep us feathering our nest down here and being really comfortable in the home that we have here. And actually, as I'm thinking about this, I'm kind of laughing in my head, because I'm a decorator. And I'm getting online telling you all, don't focus on your homes. Okay, I'm going to be put out of business. But anyway, that's really, I think, what's happening. The other place of distraction is my area of distraction, and maybe you are experiencing this as well. You're in your home, you're less active, you're not doing things that you used to do, and you're just not moving around. And I think a lot of people are discovering that they're putting on weight, just like I did. And then the enemy wants you to be distracted with, oh, what am I going to do about that? And this is just another type of distraction regarding our heavenly home, instead of, where he wants to keep us is down here. And the reason why I say that it's the same distraction, if you will all follow with me over to, let me tell you where to go. 2 Corinthians 5, okay? And I'm going to read 1 through 5. And this is talking about our new bodies, okay? For we know that when this earthly tent we live in is taken down, that is, when we die and leave this earthly body, we will have a house in heaven, an eternal body made for us by God himself and not by human hands. So the distraction, either whether it's with our home or with our body, it has to do with our eternal home. You'll notice that he referred to our body as an earthly tent. And, people live in houses, and they're referred to in the Bible as tents. So this is the body, and the home, the house, is referring to ultimately the eternal house that the Lord is preparing for us in heaven. Okay, let's go on a little bit. Verse 2. says, we grow weary in our present bodies, and we long to put on our heavenly bodies like new clothing. So maybe it's not that you've gained weight, but maybe your distraction with your body is due to health reasons or medical reasons or sickness or pains. He wants you so focused on the condition of your body that you forget your heavenly home. Let's go on. For we will put on heavenly bodies. We will not be spirits without bodies. While we live in these earthly bodies, we can groan and sigh, but it's not that we want to die and get rid of these bodies that clothe us. Rather, we want to put on our new bodies so that these dying bodies will be swallowed up by life. God himself has prepared us for this, and as a guarantee, he has given us his Holy Spirit. So again, the enemy, the way to focus on God is to focus that one day we don't have to worry about this body. We don't have to worry about our pains, the weight we're gaining, the sickness, because he's preparing new bodies for us, just like he's preparing new homes for us. But the enemy wants us to forget about that and to keep us focusing in our pain and in our homes that are, maybe starting to look a little run down. and he's saying, no, look over here. You don't need to be thinking about the eternal home. That's not where he wants us to focus. And why is the enemy right now working so hard on our focus? All right, I'm going to take you to another place in Acts, okay? Acts 2. Let's start with verse 18, and let me read it to you, okay? In those days, I will pour out my spirit even on my servants, men and women alike, and they will prophesy, and I will cause wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood and fire and clouds of smoke. The sun will become dark, and the moon will turn blood red before that great day and glorious day that the Lord arrives. But everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. The reason why he's distracting us in this time, and if you didn't see it yourself, you're going to be hearing about it on the news or already have, is that there was a blood moon. And so this is the reason why he needs us distracted, because this is a sign and a wonder from God that precedes his glorious coming. That day, that glorious day that this verse is talking about is the coming of Jesus. And the enemy does not want us focused on the eternal and focused on that. So what he does is, in the sign with the blood moon, he's a thief. So he's going to steal that and start a clamor somewhere else to get you focused on his activity. Okay, so this is a sign from God, but he is doing something right now so that you won't focus on God. Right now, Israel is just experiencing attacks and a terrible time. And, so the enemy wants to say, hey, look over here, look what I'm doing. And if we constantly have our eyes in this time on what he's doing, we will enter into fear and anxiety and anger, bitterness of what's going on, because we won't have a perspective of what God is doing. And this is what God is saying. We need to shift our focus from what the enemy is doing, has been doing all year, and get our eyes on God so that we can see what he's doing. And in Luke, we have clear instruction from God. Luke 21:28, if you'll go there. And it says, so when all these things begin to happen, stand and look up, for your salvation is near. So what Luke is saying in this time, in the Gospels is that there are going to be signs. There's going to be wonders. There's going to be things that we're to look for in these times, and we need to stand and look up. So we need to change where we're looking. We need to refocus, and rather than look at what the enemy's doing, God says, look up because your salvation is near. So those who will look up and see the Lord will see their salvation. But the enemy, again, is clanging his cymbal over here, saying, bing, 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 look at me. Look at me over here, because he doesn't want you looking up. All right? But we have got to know that where we're called to look, what we're called to focus on is God and God alone. His activity alone, so that we can line up with what he's doing. We can recalibrate our eyes, and we won't enter into the spirit of fear that the enemy would just love for us to stay in and wallow in. Okay, so we need to not get distracted. We have to understand that things that are coming at us right now could possibly be a distraction. And so really look at where those distractions are for you. Could they be in your home? Could they be something with your body? Is that where your distractions could be? So really look at that and find a way to shut that out and make a consistent effort to then refocus your eyes, recalibrate your eyes, and whether you need to look up, whether you need to look in, whether you need to look again, wherever you need to look, then begin to do that. Think about all the different things that we talked about in these messages where God is saying, I want you looking here. Me, I don't want you looking at yourself. I don't want you looking at the world. I don't want you looking at the enemy. And I don't want you looking in the natural. Okay? So if you're like going through this list saying, you know what, I think I've been doing that. I think I've been doing that. Then get with the Lord, and he'll show you, and he'll tell you how to recalibrate your looking. All right. The last time I ended with a prayer from this book, Prayers on Fire, which is wonderful. I hope you get it. And today, again, just amazingly, May 26th, I want to read you the prayer again for today. I think it's a great way to end today's message, and it's called My Righteous King. So I'm hoping that you've been practicing putting Jesus and making him the king of your heart and putting him on that throne, because let me read to you, and you can listen to this and pray along with me, okay? It says, regal power surrounds Yahweh, again another name for God, as he sits securely on his throne. Oh my goodness. He's in charge of it all, the entire world, and he knows what he's doing. This is from Psalm 93:1. Isn't that amazing? It's so amazing and so encouraging for today. All right, here's the prayer. God, you are holy, the one true King who rules in heaven and earth in majestic splendor. You are a tower of strength for all who run to you for protection. You condemn the plots of wickedness. The sound of your voice stills the chaos of catastrophe. Yahweh, you have reigned from eternity past to eternity future with judgments that are pure and right. Send forth your royal decrees of righteousness for all the world to hear. Teach us your ways and ignite our hearts with passion to follow you. As your cherished ones, illuminate us with revelation so we'll reflect your brilliance in the world around us. Even in the darkest season, I will cling to you and embrace the lessons you teach. For even the sting of your correction is sweet. Examine my every thought as I yield myself to your lordship. Your dominion and authority abides forever. You are my righteous King. Oh, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. And friends, see him as the King. Begin to seat him there, because when he is seated there, there are so many promises of protection and strength, peace and rest for your soul, so that you can face these troubled times with security instead of uncertainty. We don't need to live in uncertainty when we're looking in the right place. Look up. Your salvation is near. I love you. I thank you for joining me. Please share this to whoever needs encouragement. Whoever needs encouragement, please share and let you be encouraged today. Thank you.